her last chapter is talking about leadership. So we're going to go through leadership theories and leadership styles. So my expectation is that you're familiar with the different leadership styles and theories and can define them. So most of them are pretty much what they sound like. We will go through slowly, we'll break them down, we'll try to find ways to help you guys remember them. But for the most part, they're exactly like what they sound like. Okay, so leadership is defined as the behavioral process in which the person attempts to influence others. You guys are all going to be leaders at some point in your careers, whether you are at the very top or in the middle or maybe a lower leader. Regardless, you are going to have some sort of a leadership role. So most of the time you're trying to create a vision that empowers others and you're trying to get others to believe in the same goal as what you have. Okay, characteristics of leaders. We're going to take a little bit on this slide and I'm going to have you guys talk with the person next to you about somebody in your life who was a leader, who helped shape you, and talk through these different characteristics. So the first one, what does it mean to have integrity? What does integrity mean? Any guesses? Yeah,
Doing the right thing even if nobody's watching.
doing the right thing even if nobody's watching. Yes, that is an example of integrity. Yeah, so it is a reflection of your character. So being honest, sincere, telling the truth, being an effective communicator. So verbally and written communicating properly. You guys can probably all think of when this has been done well with maybe a leader or somebody above you and when it's been done poorly. So that communication where you are talked to as an equal, that is what you'd want to strive to do. So no talking down on or miscommunication in any sort of way. Building and nurturing relationships. So realizing that you need those below you to excel in your job. So build those relationships with the people below and around you. Being visionary and creative. So we're going to talk a lot about that in our next few styles: intelligent, competent, and then maintaining standards. So let's take 2 or 3 minutes. I want you guys to tell the person next to you, somebody who was a significant leader in your life, and explain these characteristics. So make sure that you have these characteristics down. And most of the time, if you can think of somebody who was an example of that in your life, they're a little bit easier to remember. So 2 minutes. Person next to you, behind you, beside you, across the room from you. Doesn't matter.
I like to say, leader, you kind of show me around.
What we were just talking about.
You said, say what they need, but
So what, can you define integrity?
integrity, I would say like, it's kind of like that's something I need to work on.
All right, we got it. Everybody's got these. Define all these different ones now. Okay. Let's keep moving. Truths about leadership. Leaders are made, not born. Would anybody argue with that first point? Sometimes. Yeah, what is an example where a leader is born and not necessarily made?
The royal family.
The royal family, yes. That's the best example that I can think of. The royal family, so they are born into their role. They are made leaders. I mean, they have all the training and whatnot to become an effective leader. However, based on the family that they're born into, they receive that role. So that's the only one that we can argue about. Otherwise, leadership occurs at all levels, absolutely. Having a charismatic personality is not a prerequisite for leadership. What does a charismatic personality mean? Somebody who is charismatic or has charisma. Outgoing, always talking to people. They are the individuals who have the personality when they walk into a room. Everybody just feels relaxed. They kind of can put other people at ease. They are just blessed with that personality where others trust them. Yeah, so that would be an example of charismatic. We'll go through a couple of leaders that we'll talk about their charismatic personality. Leaders and scholars, distinction between process and management, and then leadership can be taught. So here are our theories that we are going to go through and define. So first we're going to define all of the theories, and then we are going to define all the styles. So try to set apart the theories and then the styles, because some of them are, whoops, really similar. Hit the down button. I did not need to do that. Here we are. I'm just going to get them all up here because we will go through and define each of these. So great man, great trait, behavioral, situational, transactional, and transformational. Hopefully you guys recognize some of the gentlemen up here on this slide. Okay, the first one, great man theory. So this is exactly like what we were just talking about. So this one states that leaders are genetically predisposed to become leaders. So leaders are born, not made. So this one completely conflicts what we just went over for our truths of leaders. And it's like what we talked about. So the two that I see mixed up the most are great man and great trait. Try to remember great man as they're born into that role, rather than great trait is when they have one genetic trait that puts them into that role. So who is this gentleman right here? Got a little bit of history. Napoleon Bonaparte, yes. So he was a French military and political leader. Another example would be Martin Luther. So you won't be asked to recall the individuals. They're just up here to hopefully help you remember the definitions of what the different theories mean. Okay, so here's great trait. So this is what I said to not get it mixed up with. So leaders possess one characteristic that thrusts them into the position as the leader. So they aren't necessarily born into the role. That's great man. However, they have a trait that sets them apart. So most of the time they're charismatic. They have charisma. So compelling attractiveness or charm that inspires the devotion to others. Who is our gentleman on the bottom right? JFK, yes. So he was praised as a charismatic leader. Any questions on the difference between great trait and great man? Does that make sense? Okay. Behavioral. Behavioral means that a leader can learn to become a good leader. So anybody is capable of learning how to become a leader. It is defined by how they act versus having an inborn trait. So behavioral is opposite of great man and great trait. It means that it does not matter. You can learn to become an effective leader. Who's this? George Washington, yes. All right, situational. Situational is exactly like what it sounds like. So do not overthink this one. It means that they are elected a leader based on the certain situation or circumstances that arise. So you come into the leadership role based on a situation that calls for your unique abilities. So our example is Winston Churchill. So he was praised as an outstanding prime minister of England because he rallied the emotions of the country during World War II. However, post-war, he was not reelected because it was a different situation. His personality was no longer needed for that type of a role. So when a certain situation arises, you're chosen based on that specific circumstance. So exactly like what it sounds. Okay, our next two are transactional and transformational. So these are another two that are sometimes students struggle to differentiate between these two. So transactional means that you are goals-based structures and systems. So you're results-oriented, tied to your performance. So you have a goal, you're going to work for that goal, and that's going to improve your performance, essentially. So this is Jack Welch. Does anybody know who or what Jack Welch does? He's a little bit less known. Jack Welch is CEO of General Electric, so GE Appliances. He rose in the appliance world based on his goal, what he wanted to offer, and then that drove his performance. Okay, so transactional, results-oriented, tied directly to performance versus transformational. So transformational is thinking different. So these are visionary leaders who set goals, create the commitment, envision, innovate, motivate. So Steve Jobs. We are going to look at one of his quotes on the next slide, but it's giving the people what they want before they know that they want it. So being innovative, coming up with things that you know would make people's lives easier, however, they don't know that they want it yet. You guys tell what iPhone is this? The first one? I thought it was like iPhone 4. It's old. I need to change that picture. Okay, so Steve Jobs. Some people say give the customers what they want. That's not my approach. Our job is to figure out what they're going to want before they do. I think Henry Ford once said, if I'd asked customers what they wanted, they would have told me a faster horse. People don't know what they want until you show it to them. That's why I never rely on market research. Our task is to read things that are not yet on the page. So being innovative and visionary. Okay, that's it for our theories. We now are going to go through and define these different styles. So leadership styles focus specifically on the traits and behaviors of leaders, whereas theories focus on finding out what makes a successful leader. Okay, first one, authoritative or visionary. So you have a vision and you want to get everybody else to believe in that vision, and you are the catalyst for change. So self-confident leader who sets a new direction and serves for that change. So our example, we got JFK again. He sent the first man to the moon. JFK convinced America to support the space program. So authoritative, visionary, mobilizing people towards a specific vision, to get them to support. Okay, democratic. So democratic is a really common leadership style. So involves others in the decision-making process. So you ask for input from colleagues, those that maybe work below you. So it is based on mutual respect, often combined with participatory leadership. It requires a collaboration. So consensus is sought, you ask for opinions from others, however, then you as the leader make that final decision. Okay, coaching. Coaching does not have to be within sports. It oftentimes is, however, does not have to be. So focusing on developing people to achieve their potential. So facilitates learning, productivity, and having good morale. What does morale mean? What's that? Somebody say?
Meeting.
What'd you say? Meaning? What do you mean by that? Okay, can you do something different? Anybody else?
Having like a positive attitude as a group.
Having a positive attitude as a group, yes. So if you are involved in something that has a good morale, everybody gets along well, they work together well, they have a good attitude. Versus if you've ever been part of something with a poor morale, if you've ever been on a team or worked somewhere with poor morale, that is when everybody is down, they don't have a good attitude, they don't get along well, they oftentimes butt heads. So if you are working with a coaching style, you're trying to get everybody to get along. So all of your coaches have probably dealt with this. Aligns individuals with performances and team objectives. Who's this guy? Anybody know?
Yeah.
Not Bobby Knight. Yeah, Bobby Knight though. He's coming up. It is John Wooden. John Wooden. So Wizard of Westwood. He won 10 NCAA championships in a 12-year period. He's the head coach at UCLA. He was known as having a great coaching style. Okay, laissez-faire. Laissez-faire is a great leadership style when your teammates or colleagues are able to accomplish tasks on their own. So you get to sit back and let them do their thing, basically. So used when you have highly motivated and competent team members. So any guesses on who this guy is? I think I've heard it. Yes, Ronald Reagan. Good job. It is Ronald Reagan. So he allowed subordinates to complete responsibilities in the manner that they saw fit. So you can use this whenever you have highly competent and motivated staff or teammates or whatever it may be. Okay, pace setting. So having a high standard of performance. If expectations are not met, if expectations are not excessive and unending. Who's this guy? I guarantee that you guys have all supported him.
Oh, Jeff Bezos.
Yes, Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, what does Jeff Bezos do?
Amazon, everything.
Amazon, everything. Yeah, he's pretty great. So an example of pace setting or having a high standard of performance is his 2-day shipping. So to my knowledge, this is the only website or e-commerce site that you can go to and get that 2-day shipping. So that was something that he did that was very pace setting, that was exceptional. So that he did that along with, what is this thing right here? Has anybody seen one of these or have one? Seen this example? No? Okay, so this came about probably 5 years ago now. So Amazon offers, they're called pods or buttons. So you can get this for a bunch of different things on Amazon. You can get it for toilet paper, for laundry soap. This is for paper towels. They have a magnet on the back so you can stick them to your fridge. And when you run out of that item, you literally just push this button and it will reorder. So they didn't take off quite as much as I think expected. However, they are really convenient. I think you pay like $2 to get the button and then you have it. But the only downfall of this is with kids, or if you accidentally push this button more than one time, there is no filter or whatever. It will continue to ship them. So you have to be a little bit careful. But a lot of people get them and then literally just stick them on their washing machine. And when they are running out of laundry soap, you just push that button and it will automatically go through your account and reorder. So they're pretty cool. Coercive or commanding. Here is our Bobby Knight. So the leader takes charge, no contrary opinions. Best when immediate compliance is needed. So when you need things to get done or like a crisis situation, those of you that are familiar with Bobby Knight, he is what like this picture looks like. He is going to get his players where they need to be. He's hollering, he's doing what he has to do to get his players to do whatever it is that's needed. So he's the Texas Tech men's basketball coach. But this leadership style is best whenever there's a crisis situation, when you need immediate compliance to happen.
Was it he also coached for Indiana?
I can't answer that. I can't answer that. Okay, our very last one. Servant. So servant leadership, this style is anything that is community-based. So serving for an organization, listening, building a sense of community. So behaving in ethical ways for personal growth, facilitating teamwork for greater success. We got Martin Luther here. Okay, leadership, like I said, is going to be important for each of you. Whether you hope to be, how many of you guys hope to own and operate a business one day? Anybody? Okay, a few of you guys. So leadership is going to be especially important. We have a variety of different classes that you can take at UJ to excel in leadership. We also have the character and leadership program here that you can be a part of. So as a student, you can also take on different leadership roles to help you excel. You can join organizations, you can try to run to be the president of that organization, vice president, treasurer, whatever it may be. Get involved. It does look really good on a resume. As far as organizations, we have Exercise Science Club, we have the PETE Club if you're going into physical education, and then we have a variety of different ones. There's Jimmy Jane's. There's a bunch of different student organizations on campus that you can get involved with. Okay, let's do these last few scenarios. See how you guys do when you see an example, and then we are done for the day. So the first one, you're working in a joint physical therapy cardiac rehab setting. A patient is walking on the treadmill and goes down. You glance at the monitor and notice your patient is in ventricular tachycardia, which means having a heart attack. They're not responding or breathing and have no pulse. What leadership style should you use? Yeah, coercive or commanding. Yeah, so it's a crisis situation. So you need to respond and tell so-and-so to get the AED, so-and-so to start CPR, so-and-so should call 911. You would want to start commanding basically whatever needs to be done. Good job. Okay, scenario 2. You're the head coach for a college athletic team. A player comes into your office concerned with playtime. He or she is wondering why they aren't getting in the game more. What leadership style? I think I heard it really quietly.
Coaching.
Coaching, thank you. Yes, coaching. So what would you tell this player?
Better.
Do better. They're gonna leave there crying then. Then what do you do?
I mean, he didn't play, so,
Probably depends on the age of the person too, right?
yeah.
So remember coaching, you're trying to improve as a team. So you could set forward, lay out the team goals maybe, and tell that player what they need to do to get more playtime. Okay, the third one, you are a manager of a student fitness center on college campus. Several students have come to you with requests of adding spin bikes to the facility. You have a small budget to work with, and you know it is highly unlikely that you'll be able to cover the costs of the bikes within your budget. You know that the bikes would be popular and increase the use of the fitness center. A group of students on campus wants to set up a meeting with you to discuss this request further. What leadership style? Yes, democratic, I heard. It would be democratic, so you're gonna hear their opinion, you're gonna hear what they wanna do, and then you make the decision. Okay, two more. You're working in a PT privately owned rehab clinic with 5 other therapists and PTs. The employees under your supervision have been at the clinic longer than you have and are capable of getting their work done on time without direction needing to be provided. Your staff is motivated to meet their rehab hours required per week. What leadership style? I heard a bunch there. Laissez-faire is the right answer. So they're competent, they can get their work done, they've been there longer than you, you can sit back and let them do their thing, unless they need supervision, unless they prove otherwise, basically. Okay, the last one, there's a couple right answers with this one. You're a PE teacher at the Jamestown Middle School. It's your 8th period of the day, so your students have trouble focusing, and today you have to teach them a lesson in archery. What leadership style?
Coaching.
Coaching is one of them. Commanding or coercive as well. Yeah, so it's 8th period. You're teaching archery. Could be a little dangerous if they have difficulty focusing. So you might need to use coercive or commanding a little bit. Okay, and that's it. We are done for the day. We're done early. So have a good rest of the week and weekend. No assignments, nothing to do in my UJ. We will start our movie